Hello and welcome back. Got a video for you today. Been working on the Ford. A few updates. I'll show you what's going on here. Went to do the exhaust manifold and ran into problems. So I will show you what happened. Alright, so here it is. As you can see, there's no exhaust manifold on there. Fender liner is out. What happened was 7 of the 8 studs busted off at the block. Actually, I cut them off, and there were 2 of them that busted. So the guy had it for. Took it to somebody who had a lift. Makes it easier. He spent 2 days himself extracting 5 of the studs, and he's a good mechanic. He knows what he's doing. It's not like he doesn't know. So he spent 2 days extracting 5 studs. And then on the evening of the 2nd, he called me and was like, listen, I need some help with this. So I went over there and I spent myself 5 hours last night just pulling 2 studs out myself. Terrible job. Would never want to do it. I'm just going to pay somebody to do the other side. Kind of dumb to start doing this myself, but you can see this side, it's all intact down there, all rusty. So yeah, I will never do that again. Alright, here's the manifold, new bolts. It's drilled and tapped right there for the EGT probe, and then here are the gauge set. Awkward to try to do this, but it is the 4 gauge pod for this. I'm going to try to do them both today, manifold and gauges. We'll see. There we go. Don't want to listen to that. So I have gauges all right there. I do like that about the Fords, that you can fit the 4 pillar pod in here. It's kind of nice. But yeah, we're gonna get started on that, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do with this. I gotta tap this deeper. So I was looking at all this. So I did get Glowshift gauges. I like them. That's what's in my black truck. Glowshift. There's my owner's manual wiring harness. They're very intuitive. They're easy to install. They're cheap, and they work good. So I've never had a problem with mine. I've had mine on my black truck for almost 3 years now, 2 years, and they work great. So we'll see how this one goes. Stay tuned. Alright, so the first step is to get in here with a die grinder and basically clean up all the rust around these holes. If you don't have one of these, you use sandpaper. And actually on this one, there's a spot that you got to use sandpaper back here on this one because you can't get to it with a die grinder. Just clean all the rust off so it's nice and shiny and smooth, so you can bolt the manifold up and not have a problem with it. So as you can see, they're all cleaned up except for the bottom of that one right there in the center. See that rust spot? I gotta take sandpaper to it, but the other ones are shiny. So I'm gonna do that and then get to mounting the manifold. Alright, as you can see, the manifold is in. It takes really easy to put them in. The hardest part is getting it out. You can see the bolts are in there loosely. I mean, it's just sitting in there on all the bolts right now. So, you know, you tighten them up, and then basically you're pretty much good to go. You got to torque it, and then heat it up, cool it off, retorque it. Just to make sure it's all good to go. With the hardware at Bolco. Anyways, these bolts in here, you don't want to use grade 8. You want to use like a grade 5 because they will harden, and the grade 5s will handle the heat better. So that's what those are, grade 5s. So I'm going to tighten this up, just snug it up, make sure everything's lined up good, get the up pipe connected. that might give me a little bit of trouble. I don't know yet, but that's probably gonna be the hardest part of this whole thing, is getting the down or the up pipe hooked up right. So hold on and I'll get to doing that. Alright, so there it is, all tightened up, nice and clean looking. I still have to, back there you can see the 2 bolts that are missing. I got to get some M8s for that. These are M10 by 60s, if you're wondering. That's how long those are supposed to be. But I got them all torqued down, went through twice. Now all you got to do is do a heat cycle. So heat the motor up, start it, shut it off, retorque, because it'll change things. So I'm going to try to find those bolts and then we'll see what she sounds like. Alright, so we're working on the gauges now. You can see the EGT probe in there. Supposed to drill and tap the manifold. I drilled and tapped the new one when it wasn't on there. Just put your EGT probe in there. Show you the trans one next. So this is what you're going to pull out. There's just a test port plug. You go on the driver's side. Right here. So you count back 1, 2, and it's right up there. And you put this sensor in there. So that takes care of your trans sensor. So you do that. You take care of that one. And then for your fuel pressure, you pull this out, your Schrader valve to test fuel pressure. Take that out and put your sensor in its place. This is the sensor. So I'll take that out. You use an 11, and then this goes in with a 22. Now this is only temporary here with the fuel pressure sensor. I put the fuel rail in it, and then it will be mounted to the fuel rail. So here's what you're pulling out. Schrader valve. And then you screw this in its place. Alright, so I think that's good. I'll unclip you here, pull you in so you can see. The screw's in right there, right next to this one. I'm assuming that's the one for the computer. So once that's done, we can take it to the inside. You're supposed to install your boost gauge in this. It didn't come with the proper fitting, and I also noticed this. I think there might be a problem. Pretty sure you're not supposed to be able to just pull that off. So I'm gonna take care of that and then go get the T-fitting that I need to go in that line. So hang on. Alright, so you can buy these T's for the boost gauge from Glowshift. I didn't realize, I thought it came with it. Turns out it doesn't. So what I did was I made mine. Pipe fitting, connector in the center, and then 2 barb fittings. Drilled a hole, tapped it, and stuck the compression fitting in there. So the boost line runs up there. I got the fuel line hooked up, zip tied up. So one thing is, when you do this, I've seen a lot of trucks where they put gauges or they do some sort of electrical and it just looks crappy. I mean, they don't zip tie anything up. It looks messy. You know, don't be the guy that does it and leaves the zip tie ends out there, or heck, doesn't even put zip ties on there. You know, like, you want it to look factory. You know, that's the little details are what show quality, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if you pop your hood and you're showing me your gauges or whatever, and I look at it and you got just a cluster for the wires, it just looks like, you know, just looks horrible. I mean, how much more time does it take to get it to look nice and neat, you know? And it looks professional. And I don't know, if you do sell it, it makes it worth more. So I'm gonna finish wiring up get all the sensors poked inside the cab. Drilled the hole right here. It's a rubber grommet. Or drill a inch and a half or inch and a quarter hole, put a rubber grommet in there. So that's right down there. Feeding the wires through it right now. Fuel pressure line, boost line. So working on that. The EGT's already shoved through under here. So I'm gonna continue running these wires and show you when I got them all up to the dash. Alright, so we're finally wiring up the gauges on the inside of the truck. So I did a little bit of a change of the wiring. If you notice, there's a bunch of wires running into this one connector. Normally there's these stupid things that are on that wire like this, and then you gotta connect all these individual ends to your gauges. And the problem that happens is there's just too many wires behind here and it doesn't want to go on there real well. So I changed the design. I just crimped them on here. This way I can actually tape them, and I'm not taping a million connections. So you see I got all the gauges mounted in there. All the wires are run up through the dash here, so all I have left to do is plug everything in and tape off those wires. Hook up these four, which should be pretty quick, and then it's good to go. So I will show you it when it's all done. Alright, so I got the gauges all installed, everything put back together. I think it looks pretty good. So now there's the real question. Do they work? Well, that's a good sign. Alright. Fuel pressure, 40 pounds. Boost is reading just a little bit above 0. Exhaust temps are reading about 200. Trans temp is reading 0. So they do work. Colors change. Now, some people, myself included, have had a problem when they install their gauges. They do this. They're like this dim red. Okay? What that means is the yellow wire is not hooked up properly. So see, I unplugged the yellow wire from the fuse box. Now it doesn't want to go back in. And when I plug it back in, they're blue. So if your gauges are staying red like that and they won't change color, means you didn't connect the yellow wire properly. I did that with both my trucks and wondered what the heck was going on. So now that that's working, I'm going to do the heat cycles and torque the exhaust manifold. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. Alright, so I'm driving home, and just things that I've noticed here. My fuel pressure at the top, it's going to be hard to see because I'm kind of holding this in my hand. When I actually hit the gas, like right now it's good, it's reading about 45 psi, you know, everything looks pretty normal. But as soon as I goose this thing, I'll do it down there. It drops down to like 30 psi, and that means that I'm starving the, like right now, 40, that's under 40, I'm doing like 30, 32 psi under a load. No wonder this thing's slow. It's getting starved for fuel on the top end. So we'll have to take care of that with the electronic fuel system. Other than that, it seems to be, it's much quieter in the truck since that manifold's done. It's actually a lot more enjoyable to drive. I mean, you don't hear that clicking anymore that it had in other videos. Other thing is trans temp stayed just below 120, so that's always good. I've seen my EGTs hit about 1100, and then my boost, I get about 20 pounds of boost. and it takes forever to build boost in this thing. So definitely gonna need some more love to make that work, because I feel it you can just tell, like, it doesn't build boost real easy. You got to get your RPMs up to get the boost. So everything so far seems to be working good, and working good, you know, running right. So we'll see how that goes. Probably gonna do some more work on it tomorrow, maybe a downpipe, we'll see. Depends on what I'm feeling like.